Now that we are done with our preliminary reading of the text, we can now get our pens out. And the first thing that we do when we have our pens out is to annotate the text, to take notes. So step 2, annotate. The first thing you do is you summarize key points and concepts in your own words. This shows knowledge and understanding, which is an important grading criteria. And you should also take note of how the text is organized. This can help you better understand the text and better understand its purpose and its meaning. Highlighting or underlining key phrases are useful as examples for analysis. That's why it can be good to go into your annotation with a goal in mind. So you should have read the guiding question and have an idea of where you want to go. You don't have to use the guiding question, remember, but we will be doing so in this example. You can also write brief comments and questions in the margins. This helps you prepare for your evaluation. And use abbreviations, symbols, and color coding to save time. For example, some of my students use different color highlighters to highlight examples for their different points. The symbols and abbreviations can be anything you like. They just have to make sense to you, no one else. I'm not going to be using any today because I don't want to have to stop to explain all of them to you. Color coding is very useful as well. And again, I won't be doing it today since I have to explain each step, and that will save time. And the best thing that you can do for your annotation is ask yourself, how would I explain this text to a friend? So remember that you need to explain this text, you need to analyze this text, not just describe it. So let's move on to our annotation. So our guiding question was, comment on the ways in which text and image work together to shape meaning in this comic strip. Now, I'm going to start with my gut reaction, and my gut reaction here is that what popped out to me were the bright colours, the cheerful message, the grammatically incorrect voiceover, and I think as well we have the little icons or characters who are cheerful blobs. So these are some of the things that we can work towards. So what is the content and what is the theme of this? So the content is basically what we talked about during reading, that there is a cheerful message, and that message is that one should be kind to oneself, look after oneself, and be proud of oneself. And it also encourages the reader to engage in healthy activities. Now, one thing you'll have noticed is that here, for example, I have engage in healthy activities, and that's quite an academic way of putting things, and putting academic language into your annotations will help you use it in your essay. So for example, cheerful blobs isn't necessarily a word I should have used there. Next we have audience and purpose. So the audience might be people who are struggling, readers of online comic strips. This is quite a general audience. There's not necessarily a lot that we can say here that's going to enhance our analysis. However, the purpose, again, is to encourage those who are struggling, and it is to, more specifically, to encourage healthy actions. Then we have the tone and mood. So the tone and mood here was cheerful and bright, and we can see this through the use of colours, for example. Then stylistic devices. We have a little bit of juxtaposition. Now I'm going to use my tool here, and I'm just going to put, or contrast. I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm going to say that there was some contrast here. This contrast is also repeated in a different way down here. So the contrast that we have here is that this panel is quite a lot darker than the rest of the panels, and there's a tiny person in the middle of the panel, which contrasts with size everywhere. And then this final panel is pastel, and the little person in it is completely passive. There is no movement, there's no real facial expression, so the only one that are comparable are the comfort and infinite majesty of the universe, but this little person is upside down. And then there is the goof is okay learned thing, but that little person is saying something on the floor. And finally, we have structure. So I would say that this is structured in the first box. We have congratulations, or you did thing. It is a form of congratulation. Then we have advice: sleep now, go outdoor, make an exercise, treat self, ignore bad internet. Vegetable would be a suggestion. But I will include it in advice, so that will be boxes 2 to make things advice, and comfort in infinite majesty of universe is also advice, so that is boxes 2 to 9 would be advice. Then we have box 10 and 4, or sorry, 10 and 11. These are encouragements. Goof is okay, learned thing, can do. So these are not advice so much as they are encouragements. Then we have some more advice. So advised activities, to be more specific, which is look at cute and catch up with friend and do bad joke. So that would be boxes 12 to 14. And finally, we have the final conclusion box, which is box 15, in which we have words of comfort, or an encouragement, as we said earlier. So these are some preliminary things about audience and purpose, tone and mood, content and theme, structure, and stylistic devices. Now, let's have a look at the guiding question, and let's annotate this text specifically with the guiding question in mind. So comment on the ways in which text and image work together to shape meaning in this comic strip. So text here, text and image. So they would be working together towards the purpose. So here I am using some symbols. I said I wouldn't, but I have gone back. Hopefully you understand the plus symbol and the arrow symbol. I'm sure you do. So the text, I would say, is colourful. There are several different shapes. More specifically with colourful, we have neon colours. And we have the cheerful characters. And we have background uses as well. So that was text. Then we have image. No, I'm sorry, I mixed up text and image. So that was image, not text, that we talked about first. Apologies. Text, we have voiceover, and we have speech bubbles. Now, there are very few speech bubbles, and these speech bubbles are short, and they serve to emphasize the message in the bubbles, in the boxes, in the panels, rather. Then the voiceover, it is grammatically incorrect. It is misspelled. And it is also very simple language. And this would make it informal and therefore less, what would be the word that I'm looking for? It would be less daunting to the reader who is perhaps going through something bad. So these two work together for the purpose of cheering up the audience or cheering on the audience. And so this purpose has to do with the meaning, and the meaning is different in each box, but the overall meaning is that you are doing well, you the reader are doing well. Here are some things that you can do to feel better, but keep going, you can do it, everything is okay. So those are my annotations. Normally I would annotate in pen or pencil directly on the sheet. I couldn't do this time because I was showing you my annotations, so hopefully you have an idea of some of the things that can be useful. So this is part of the brainstorming process, which is the next step, step 3. So we will move on to that in the next video.